Ayom, mayong buntag.
Yes.
It's your okay, Rako. Because Salama for your last message, go forth and conquer. It's a
Yes.
it's a very powerful word
Yes. So how's your life these days?
these days. It's very normal and very powerful days.
That's good to hear.
Yes, as
Your
well.
positive approach
Yes,
to
yes,
optimism in life.
yes. I'm a vitamin.
Yeah, you should.
Ikaw?
Yes. So far, so good. And
So far, so
I'm
good.
back from work after rest day, 2 consecutive rest days.
Second, two less days.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the last day for today.
I
And
thought
this
that.
time, yes. This time, Yamachang, let's start with your class.
Yeah, of
So your
course.
last progress was new work until stage 9, paragraph 707. And
Yes.
your last word was God, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's go back a little and just tell me if you can hear me well.
Okay.
Let's start.
Okay.
Supposing you could entertain a famous person at your house, either a great figure in history or someone alive today, who would you choose? Supposing you could entertain a famous person in your house, either a great figure in history or someone alive today, who would you choose?
Supposing I could entertain a famous person at my house, either a great figure in history or someone alive today, I'd choose the world's second largest millionaire Elon Musk or living magician Efrain Batan Reyes or the most beautiful actress in the Philippines, you are.
Okay, what do we mean by the background of a picture or a photograph? What do we mean by the background of a picture or a photograph? By the
background
of a picture
of a picture
or a
or
photograph,
a photograph,
we mean
the part
which
which is behind
the
the main subject.
When students apply to go to university, are they asked questions about their personal background? When students apply to go to university, are they asked questions about their personal background? Yes, no.
Yes, when students apply to go to university, they are asked questions about their personal background.
What kind of activities do you apply your energy to most?
Hmm.
What kind of activities do you apply your energy to most?
The kind of activities
I
I apply
my
my energy to most are learning for automation and unmanned.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, does the law of the land apply to everybody? Does the law of the land apply to everybody? Yes,
Yes, the law of the
land
land applies to everybody.
Do you know what you have to do to apply for a new passport? Do you know what you have to do to apply for a new passport? Yes, no.
No, I don't know what I have to do
to
to apply
for a new
for a new passport.
Give me a sentence with the word highly. Give me a sentence with the word highly.
It's highly probable
that the
that the
Browns
Browns
won't come.
won't come today.
Name me a profession that is both highly respected and highly paid. Name me a profession that is both highly respected or both highly paid.
A profession
that
that is both
highly respected
highly respected
and
and highly paid is a doctor.
Okay. Now, which is one of the most ancient civilizations in the history of the world? Which is one of the most ancient civilizations in the history of the world? One
One
of
of the most
ancient
ancient civilization
in the
in the history
of the world
of the world is
the
the Egyptian civilization,
the
the Babylonian civilization,
etc.
etc.
How many degrees are there in a right angle?
Hmm.
How many degrees are there in a right angle?
There are 90 degrees
in a right
in
angle.
a right angle.
What do you think the temperature is today? What do you think the temperature is today?
I think
the
the temperature
is
is about 18 degrees centigrade today.
If a student gets an A grade in an exam,
Hmm.
is that a good result or a bad result? If a student gets an A grade in an exam, is that a good result or a bad result?
If a student gets an A grade in an exam, that's a good result.
Give me a sentence with the word somewhat. Give me a sentence with the word somewhat.
I'd say he was somewhat lacking in common sense.
On average, are Scandinavian people somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe? On average, are Scandinavian people somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe? Yes, on average,
Scandinavian people are somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe.
Give me a sentence with the words at all. Give me a sentence with the words at all. It's very strange.
It's very strange. I've worked hard all day, but don't feel tired at all.
What does the idiom why on earth mean? What does the idiom why on earth mean?
The idiom why on earth means a very strong form of why.
Give me an example, please. Give me an example, please.
I just can't understand why on earth they got married if they don't like each other very much.
How can we often use a noun as an adjective in English? How can we often use a noun as an adjective in English?
We can often use a noun as an adjective in English by putting it immediately before another noun.
Give me three examples, please. Give me three examples, please.
Window cleaner, cat basket, school bag.
What's a water bottle? What's a water bottle?
A water bottle is a bottle that is made to carry water.
What kind of flight do we eat dinner from? What kind of flight do we eat dinner from?
We eat dinner from a dinner plate.
Now that you are at this stage of your English studies, do you think you'd be able to travel abroad confident of making yourself understood in the language? Now that you are at this stage of your English studies, do you think you'd be able to travel abroad confident of making yourself understood in the language? Yes, no.
Yes. Now that I'm at this stage of my English studies, I think I'd be able to travel abroad confident of making myself understood in the language.
A friend of yours wants to go to one cinema and you want to go to another and you can't agree about which to go to, what do you do? If a friend of yours wants to go to one cinema and you want to go to another and you can't agree about which to go to, what do you do?
If a friend of mine wants to go to one cinema and I want to go to another and we can't agree about which to go to, we go to different ways.
Okay. Do you agree that life was better in the past than it is today? Do you agree that life was better in the past than it is today? Yes, no.
No, I don't agree that life was better in the past than it is today.
Would you agree to a plan that might get you into trouble with the police? Would you agree to a plan that might get you into trouble with the police? Yes.
No, I wouldn't agree to a plan that might get me into trouble with the police.
When you don't agree with other people, what do you do? When you don't agree with other people, what do you do?
When I don't agree with other people, I answer no once and then I ask what they really want to do.
Okay. What do you do? What do you think ought to be done with drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over? What do you think ought to be done with drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over?
I think that drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over ought to be revoked their driver's license.
Okay. When you were a child, who took care of you when you were ill? When you were a child, who took care of you when you were ill?
When I was a child,
my
my parents
took
took care of me
when
when I was ill.
If you went for dinner at a friend's house but didn't care much for the food, would you still tell them it was good? If you went for a dinner at a friend's house but didn't care much for the food, would you still tell them it was good? Yes. No.
Yes,
If I went
if I went for dinner
at
at a friend's house but didn't care much for the food, I'd still tell them it was good.
What does the expression "I dare say you're right" mean? What does the expression "I dare say you're right" mean?
The expression
"I dare
I dare say
you're right"
you are right means I think you are probably right.
What kind of jobs would you say required the most daring? What kind of jobs would you say required the most daring?
I'd say
the
the kind of jobs
which
which required the most daring would be a doctor.
In dry countries, the people try to conserve water as much as possible. In dry countries, the people try to conserve water as much as possible. Yes,
Yes, in dry countries, people try to conserve water as much as possible.
When you eventually finish studying English, do you think you'd be eager to start learning another language immediately? When you eventually start studying English, do you think you'll be eager to start learning another language immediately? Yes, no.
Yes,
When
when I eventually finish studying English, I think I'll be eager to start learning another language immediately.
Now, why do we rub our hands together in cold weather? Why do we rub our hands together in cold weather?
We rub our hands
together
together in cold weather because it makes them warmer.
How can we rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper? How can we rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper?
We can rub out
a
a
pencil
pencil mark
on
on a piece
of
of paper
by
by
using.
using a rubber.
Now, where does this window face onto? Where does this window face onto?
That window
faces
faces onto
the
the
street,
street,
a courtyard.
a courtyard, etc.
If you found yourself face to face with a killer with a knife in his hand,
Mm.
what did you do? If you found yourself face to face with a killer with a knife in his hand, what did you do?
If I found myself
face
face to face with a killer with a knife in his hand, I'd run away from him as fast as possible.
Do all religions in the world have a God? Do all religions in the world have a God? No.
No, not all religions in the world have a God.
Repeat thus.
Thus,
Listen, the word thus can mean therefore. For example, he was busy with work and thus could not go to the theater. Now, thus can also mean in this way, in which case it is followed by the ing form of the verb. For example,
okay.
the weather was cold and wet, thus spoiling our trip to the seaside. Let's practice.
Okay.
What can the word thus mean? What can the word thus mean? The word
The
thus
word thus
can mean
can mean
therefore,
therefore or in this way.
Give me an example of each place. Give me an example of each place.
She is ill
and
and thus
will
will not be able
to
to attend the meeting.
The mother cut
The mother cut
the
the sandwich
into
into small pieces,
thus
thus making it
easier
easier
for her
for her young son to eat.
Repeat, economize.
Economize.
Listen, economize is a verb. It means to try to save money,
Mm.
time, goods, etc. that you use. And it can also mean to use wisely. For example, if the cost of living suddenly rose and I needed to economize, I'd save money and not go out more often.
Ah.
If the cost of living suddenly rose and you needed to economize, what changes would you make in your life?
Mm-mm.
If the cost of living suddenly rose and you needed to economize, what changes would you make in your life? If
If the cost of living suddenly rose and I needed to economize, I'd change my home from Tokyo to a local city in my life.
Okay, repeat. Involve.
Involve.
Listen, involve is a verb.
Mm.
It's the synonym of include. For
Include.
example, my job as a teacher involves correcting your mistakes.
Mm.
Another meaning of involve
Mm.
can be a part of something. For
Mm.
example,
Mm.
I've been involved in organizing a surprise party for a friend or a family member.
Mhm.
Let's practice.
Okay.
Does my job involve correcting your mistakes? Does my job involve correcting your mistakes? Yes, your job
Yes, your job involves correcting
my
my mistakes.
Have you ever been involved in organizing a surprise party for a friend or family member? Have you ever been involved in organizing a surprise party for a friend or family member? Yes.
Yes, I've been involved in organizing a surprise party for a friend or a family member.
Repeat. Attack.
Attack.
Listen, attack is a verb. It means to hurt or damage something or someone using physical violence. For example, if you were walking along dangerous places and there are a lot of bad people in that place, you might be harmed or hurt by them, or you might be attacked by them. Let's practice.
Okay.
Do innocent people ever get attacked in the streets of your hometown? Do innocent people ever get attacked in the streets of your hometown? Yes.
Yes.
Innocent people
Sometimes get attacked in the streets of my hometown.
Repeat. Scarcely.
Scarcely. Scarce.
Listen. Scarcely is an adverb. It means almost not or hardly. For example, he hardly knew anyone at the party, so he went home early. And scarce is an adjective. It means not easy to find or get. For example, food becomes scarce in wartime because there aren't enough people to work on the farms or in the factories.
Okay.
Let's practice.
Okay.
What's another word for hardly? What's another word for hardly?
Another word for hardly is scarcely.
Give me an example, please. Give me an example, please.
He scarcely knew anyone at the party, so he went home early.
What do I mean if I say that I have scarcely any money? What do I mean if I say that I have scarcely any money?
If you say that you have scarcely any money, you mean that you have almost no money.
Why does food become scarce in wartime? Why does food become scarce in wartime?
Food becomes scarce in wartime because there aren't enough people to work on the farms or in the factories.
Repeat. Impression.
Impression.
Listen, impression is a noun. It is an idea or opinion of what something or someone is like. For example, if the person for the first time would judge the person based on what we see, hear, and feel, etc., or we make our first impression. Let's practice.
Okay.
Do you think it's fair to judge people on first impression? Do you think it's fair to judge people on first impression? Yes, no.
No. I don't think it's fair to judge people on first impression.
You held a dinner party and served the food that had been cooked in a microwave. Would it make a good impression on your guest? You held a dinner party and served the food that had been cooked in a microwave. Would it make a good impression on your guest? No.
No. If I held a dinner party and served food that had been cooked in a microwave, it wouldn't make a good impression on my guest.
Repeat.
Bury.
Cemetery.
Cemetery.
Bury is a verb. It means to put something into a hole in the ground and cover it. Now, cemetery is a place where dead people's bodies their ashes are buried. Let's practice.
Okay.
What does a dog do with a bone? What does a dog do with a bone?
A dog buries a bone
in the ground.
in the ground.
What is a cemetery? What is a cemetery?
A cemetery
is
is a place where people are buried
when they die.
when they die.
Repeat anger.
Anger,
Additional.
additional.
Anger can be a verb or a noun. As a verb, it means to make someone angry.
Mm,
And anger as a noun, it
Mm.
means the feeling people get when something is unfair,
mm,
painful, or bad happens.
mm,
Additional is an adjective. It
Mm.
means extra or
Mm.
more than what was agreed or expected.
mm.
Let's practice.
Okay.
What angers you more than anything else? What angers you more than anything else?
Murder or mind control angers me
Angers me
more than
anything
anything else.
Does it anger you when an airline makes an
Mm.
additional charge for luggage?
Mm.
Does it anger you when an airline makes an additional charge for your luggage? Yes.
No,
It doesn't.
it
anger
doesn't
me
anger me
when an
when an airline
makes
makes an additional charge
for luggage.
for luggage.
Okay, but I'm afraid we don't have much time for new work. Now,
Okay.
And let's continue with your reading.
Mm.
So for
Okay.
your last reading progress, you read until stage
Mm.
8,
Eight.
paragraph 641.
41.
Your last head word was indefinite article. So please start reading on paragraph 641 still from the head word uses of the definite article.
Okay. Okay. So mascot nata. A use of the indefinite articles a and am. Countable, uncountable. When do we use the indefinite articles a and am? We use the indefinite articles a and am with singular countable nouns. Give me some examples, please. A table, an address, etc. When do we use the word one instead of the indefinite article? We use the word one instead of the indefinite article when we want to emphasize the number. Give me a sentence with the word one, please. I like song on that CD, but all the others are really boring. One. Silkworm. Wow, last conversation. Silkworm. Silk. What kind of worms are there? There are earthworms, silkworms, earthworms, etc. What kind of things are often made of silk? Ties, scarves, etc. are often made of silk. Limb. How many limbs do humans have? Humans have 4 limbs. Poison. If you discovered rats in your house, would you consider using poison to kill them? Yes. If I discovered rats in my house, I'd consider using poison to kill them. そうかそうか。Okay. Cave. Bat. Would you be willing to spend a night alone in a cave full of rats? No, I wouldn't be willing to spend a night alone in a cave full of rats. Deserve. Do you think some people deserve more of the good things in life than others? Yes, I think some people deserve more of the good things in life than others. Why? Because I think Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa had a better influence on humanity than many others. Is there anything you think you deserve but have never received? No, there isn't anything I think I deserve but have never received. Why?
You can read that one.
Okay. That one. Freaking. Next. May I start next?
Frequent, yes.
Okay. Frequently. What's the difference between the word frequent and frequent? The difference between the words frequent and frequent is that the word frequent is a verb, whereas the word frequent is an adjective. Do you frequent any clubs? No, I don't frequent any clubs. Do you pay frequent visit to your doctor? Yes, I pay frequent visit to my doctor. How frequently do you visit your dentist? I visit my dentist about 3 times a year. Next, attract. Attraction, attractive, attention, good looking. What's the best way to attract people's attention in the street? The best way to attract people's attention in the street is to shout loudly, to them and wave. What are the main attractions of the place where you live? The main attractions of the place where I live are Japan's most developed office and commercial area. Tell me the name of a famous person who you think is attractive even though they are not particularly beautiful or good looking. A famous person who I think is attractive even though they are not particularly beautiful or good looking is Efrem Reyes or Steve Jobs.
Okay, well, we don't have much time, so that will be
Okay.
okay, Yama-chan. So here's your progress in the chat box for new work and reading. And Yama-chan, thank you so much for doing your best and enjoy your day.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. Ampin. Bye bye. はい。ということで、レッスンの9、カラーメソッドのレッスン9が終わりました。最後に今日の先生、ヨアンの良かった点とか楽しかった点をコメントに書いて送信して今日のレッスンを終わります。